Hello and welcome. My name is Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. If you want to make some wood veneer earrings, this is the video for you. So we're going to use our Cricut machine, wood veneer, and a variety of Rust-Oleum paints to make some cute earrings for fall, and then I'm going to have some non-seasonal ideas for you as well. Now this video is sponsored by Rust-Oleum, however all projects and opinions are my own. So what are we going to make today? So my favorite thing we're going to make today are some adorable gnome earrings for fall. So I'm going to cut the wood veneer on a Cricut machine, and then we're going to use both Rust-Oleum spray paints as well as they have some intense glitter paints that are going to add some glittery fun to our little gnome beards, and you're going to love it. So we're going to use all of these paints in combination to make those cute gnome fall earrings. Now I will have an SVG file linked below that you can use to cut your wood veneer to make the gnomes. Then at the end of this video, I'll have more ideas for wood veneer earrings. So perhaps you don't like the gnomes, I don't know why you wouldn't. Or perhaps you want to make wood veneer earrings for other seasons, ones that aren't seasonal. I have ideas for you there as well. So combine wood veneer with Rust-Oleum paints and make something amazing to wear with your Cricut machine. So let's get started by taking a look at the supplies we're going to use. The supplies you're going to need are as follows. So we'll be using the wood veneer to make our earrings. Then you'll need like the hooks, jump rings, and jewelry pliers to put the earrings together. You'll need the deep point blade with a Cricut Explorer or Maker Series machine. And if you don't add the holes to the earrings when you cut, you would need something to poke those holes in. And I usually use like a straight weeding tool. And then we're going to paint the wood veneer. I'm going to use a variety of paints. I'm going to use the Rust-Oleum Imagine chalk finish as a base on some of the earrings. And then I have the chrome and soft gold, color shift, the black base coat with this pink champagne. So when you use the black base coat, if you can tell this color shifts as I move it, it would do the same thing on a pair of earrings. And then I have the Rust-Oleum Imagine Intense Glitter Paint, and this is a brush on, and I have it both in iridescent clear as well as silver. So I'm going to use a variety of these on the earrings that I'm going to create, and I'll have several earring ideas at the end of this video. First, let's take a look at how to add the wood veneer to the mat, and then let's cut some of it with our Cricut machine. I am going to use two different finishes, both maple and walnut, on the earrings I'm going to make. There are 3 different finishes with the wood veneer from Cricut. So you just want to add the wood veneer to the strong grip mat. Use a brayer to press it down well. And then I like to use painter's tape all the way around the outside edge, just to keep the material from moving as it cuts. So I'm just going to put painter's tape all the way around the outside. You will want to make sure that tape does not hang over the edge of the mat in any location, so just trim any excess away. I have the deep point blade installed, and I'm using my Maker 3. Now something I figured out was that wood veneer does not pull up for some reason when I'm using mobile. So if you're using a tablet or a phone, you might not be able to get the wood veneer to pull up, and you might have to use a different material type to try to get this to cut. And I'm not sure why it's not pulling up. But I did need to go get my computer to get it to pull up. Then we'll just load the mat and press go to cut. So for the gnome earrings, I cut 2 of these pieces for the back for every set of earrings. Why is that? Well, the wood veneer is so thin, so here's an example piece, that I can bend it. And it doesn't exactly crack, but I don't really like the fact that I can just sort of bend it all over the place. If I put 2 of these pieces together with some glue, it makes it a little bit thicker and a little bit sturdier, in my opinion, a little bit better. So I'm going to glue these 2 together in all cases. Then we're going to paint these white. I'm going to leave the noses unpainted. I'm going to paint these 2 hats with gold, these 2 hats with color shift, and leave these 2 by themselves. And then after this white dries on here, I'll show you how to add a glitter effect to the top. Then we can use the glue to assemble all of these together at the end to make earrings, add the hooks at the top, all that kind of thing. So I'm going to start by gluing these together. Now this is a glue that's okay for wood, and it's a fast drying glue, which is important to me. And so I'm just going to add the glue to each one of these and assemble the two pieces together, just making sure they're lined up. It should dry really quickly, and then we'll talk about how we're going to paint each of these. Now that two of these are together, it's much more sturdy. So you can stack the wood veneer pieces if you need to make a sturdier earring. I wouldn't stack them like too many together, as the earring could get heavy, but I feel like the two together, and then we'll be adding like these pieces to the top, will definitely make for a really sturdy earring at the end. Because these wood pieces are so thin, when you spray paint, it's going to like blow them all over the place. So let's talk about a few tips and tricks for spray painting things that are lightweight. So if there's a portion like you didn't need painted, let's say I don't want the circle painted at the top, you can tape them down to just a scrap piece of paper like this. And this is a heavier weight paper, and you could tape the paper down as well. Otherwise, what you can do, like let's say I want the whole thing painted, I can just kind of make a ball with my paint and tape these right into place on this paper. Now it won't blow around. I can spray paint the entire surface, and I won't have pieces flying all over my backyard. So I'm going to go ahead and tape all of these down, and then we'll head out and do some spray painting on our pieces. I headed outside to spray paint these. I'm going to do the main portion first, and I'm going to paint that white. So be sure to shake your spray paint really, really well. For this version, I shook the paint can for at least a minute. Then I held the can about 10 to 12 inches from the surface and sprayed back and forth, up and down from several different directions until I got a full coat on my project. Then I moved those to dry. The next version is the gold. Again, I shook the can really well for about a minute. Then I held the can about 10 to 16 inches from the surface and sprayed back and forth, up and down again, slightly overlapping each time to get a full coat on my project. Then I set those aside to dry. For the color shift, you'll need a black base coat and then the color shift on top to get the look that is on the top of the color shift can. So for the black base coat, I shook the paint can well, again at least a minute. Then I held the can about 16 inches from the surface and sprayed back and forth, up and down, getting a full coat onto my pieces. Now, spray paint dries to the touch in about 20 minutes. You can handle it in about an hour. It's fully dry in about 24 hours. However, additional coats can be applied within 1 hour or after 24 hours. So you do want to do the next coats pretty rapidly. So once I had the black on there, I let the paint dry just a few minutes, and then I went back with the color shift in the pink champagne. Then I held it about 16 inches from the surface and sprayed it back and forth, up and down. Now the more coats of the color shift that you put on, the more of the color shift effect you will have. So if you put on less, it'll look more black. If you put on more, it will look more colorful and shift more. So now everything's dry and we're back inside. And I'm going to use this intense glitter paint, and this is the iridescent clear. And what we want to do is stir this up. We want to get all of that glitter mixed in really well into the top. And I'm going to add this over this white to give these earrings some sparkle. So I'm just going to use a paintbrush and I'm going to apply it to the whole thing. This top portion will be covered, but a portion of it, you know, like the leaf or the pumpkin, just whatever one I'm working on, will be sticking out. Now you can do more than one coat of this glitter. So the more coats you do, the more glitter effect you will see. So I'm probably going to do 1 to 2 coats, but if you want more glitter effect, you just need to add more coats of this paint. So I'm just going to add this paint to each one and then allow these to dry. Here are each of my pieces painted and dried for the gnome earrings. So this had the white spray paint and then I added the intense glitter over the top, and hopefully you can see that glitter effect. This version is just the wood veneer. It's cut out of the walnut instead of the maple, which is the noses, which are also when painted. This version's the gold, and this version is the color shift over the black. So now all that's left to do is to glue these together. So for each one of these, I will just turn this over to the back, add a glue that works for wood, then add this piece to the earring and then add the nose to the earring. So I'll just repeat for each one of these and then we'll come back and talk about adding the hook to the top. So for these I'm adding two different sizes of jump rings. So the first is a larger jump ring and I'm adding that to the earring itself. Then putting a smaller jump ring on there. Close that first one up. Open the smaller version and just thread on the earring hook and close that up as well. Now you could do these any way you would like with the tops, does not matter, but this is how you finish off your little gnome fall earrings. So these are one idea for using wood veneer to make earrings, and I have 3 different versions of that here. Now, if you want other ideas for using wood veneer and paint to make earrings, I have a few more for you as well. So let's take a look at what else I was able to make with wood veneer, paint, and some jewelry bindings. So this version is the walnut with the chrome soft gold in a couple of different places on the bottom of the earring. I really love the way this one turned out. Okay, so this version takes 2 coats. You need a base coat in black and then the pink champagne color shift over the top. And hopefully you can see that shifting color as I move this around in the light. And that's how it will be like when you're wearing it as an earring. So I really love the color shift for something like earrings. For these versions I did the intense glitter. This top is the iridescent glitter, so it's like a clear glitter. Just applied it to the bottom, sort of like a paint dipped look. And then I did half of the leaf dipped kind of in the silver intense glitter paint. This is like 3 coats of the intense glitter. The more coats you do, the more intense the glitter effect will be. Let's also take a closer look at each of these gnome earrings. So this first version was made with the white spray paint, and then the other elements are just the maple and the walnut wood veneer. Besides that intense glitter paint and the iridescent glitter that I put over the gnome itself to make his beard extra glittery. The next set I did the entire thing out of the maple veneer but added the chrome in soft gold to the hat. So again, white paint on the body, chrome soft gold on the hat, and then add intense glitter paint over the entire body for that glitter effect. The last version, the hat, was done with the color shift. So the pink champagne color shift over the black base coat. The body again is done in white with the intense glitter paint over the top, and I did cut the entire thing out of the maple wood veneer. Alright, so I've given you tons of ideas for making wood veneer earrings. I would love to hear from you. Which one of these is your favorite? My favorites are the gnomes. I can't decide between the gnome that has the hat that's made out of the walnut veneer at the top or the gnome that has the gold painted hat at the top. I can't decide between those two. One of those two is my favorite. The color shift is definitely a much bolder option, so if you are for big, bold earrings, I would go with the color shift. If you want more subtlety, I would go with either the gold or the natural look of the wood veneer for the hat portion. But the beard has to be glitter for me. So the intense glitter paint is the perfect thing to make anything glittery, especially a gnome beard. Then you can use these same paints all year round with the rest of your wood veneer sheets to make earrings for just about any occasion. And if you think the fall gnomes are cute, search for Christmas gnome earrings. I guarantee you that you're gonna want some more Rust-Oleum paint, some more wood veneer, and to make some Christmas earrings as well. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you have questions about anything we've covered, please drop down in the comment section and ask away. If you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank y'all so much for joining me, and I can't wait to see your version of these gnome earrings. Thanks y'all, bye-bye.